It's been a busy weekend of voting.
With Manitoba's election fast approaching, officials say tens of thousands of people have already shown up to cast their ballot. They say the first few days of voting are off to a strong start. 55,000. That's how many ballots were cast in the first 2.5 days of advanced voting, running from September 23rd to September 30th. And Mike Ambrose with Elections Manitoba says the 2023 figure is already on pace to pass the total advance votes recorded the last time Manitobans went to the polls.
By comparison, in 2019, there was about 113,000 cast over all 8 days. So we are coming up on 50% of the 2019 total.
Ambrose says it's difficult to determine overall voting trends from the advanced polls and says there isn't always a correlation between high numbers in the early ballot and a high overall voter turnout, but says it is exciting for so many people to be taking part in the early vote. People like Carmen Omiso, who plans to vote before October 3rd to exercise his right and beat the rush.
If you have a voice, speak up, no time better than the present. If it's open, it's open. Take advantage.
And Michelle Menard, who says voting is an important box to check, literally and figuratively.
I just think it's important to get your vote in early and just try to be organized. And if I can just do it early, that'll just save me from having to rush and do it later.
And they're not alone. Political scientist Christopher Adams says how people view the early ballots has changed over the years.
It used to be some years ago that the only people doing advanced voting were those who knew they'd be away or were going in for an operation or just knew that they wouldn't be around. But now more and more people just see it as a steady thing or sort of a convention to go and do your advanced voting.
Adams says now is when parties will be encouraging their base to vote, but says their main focus will be swaying swing voters, scraping data from a variety of sources to determine where they should be concentrating their efforts, saying a high early turnout can be telling.
That a lot of advanced voting would indicate there's a real interest in this election. And this often, not always, but it often happens when there is a possibility for a change in government.
With the provincial campaigns approaching the finish line in the form of the October 3rd election, Adams says supporters on all sides will be targeting their efforts as they prepare to mark their ballots, stressing voting is one of the easiest ways people can participate in the democratic process. It's a message stressed by Ambrose and the Elections Manitoba team as well.
I encourage all Manitobans to get out and vote. Every vote is important, and it's your say in our democracy.
In Winnipeg, Morgan Majeski, City News.